Hi folks, good evening. Today we're going to talk about talks because I went to iOSDevUK and it was phenomenal. I finished my school year, interned over the summer, and had a 3-week gap in which I went to try Swift New York City. And it was such a good time that I decided to just move on eastwards. I bought a ticket to London, went to iOSDevUK in Wales, which to me is just a train ride over. Coming from California, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd love to tell you about the highlights to show you what this kind of community is worth and how fun it is and entertaining and an educational experience it can be for all of us. So I would love to encourage you to go and attend these kinds of meetups, conferences in your area, conferences outside your area. I think you'll love it. So let's switch over to the professionally done slides in the form of tweet archives and photos. Here, let's see if this works. Yeah, it's just my phone. Do we have that? Let's see. We'll unplug and plug back in because that usually solves things. Perfect. iOSDevUK, there it is. This is the photo of everyone that went. And I'd love to highlight some of the experiences. At first I was going to talk about the details and summarize some of the talks that were more interesting, but we're going to post all of the slides up, and I'll write up a summary of all the great talks because there are just too many. GEMS was one of them. It was great because I got to learn. I actually played with the Steam APIs, and some of the Team Fortress APIs are actually Steam related that are only documented on the Team Fortress wiki. I had no idea that those were available. So this happened all the time with Xcode extensions and other things. So we're just going to run through some of the cool experiences that happened that you don't get from videos and talks. Or from videos of talks. It's what you get when you go to a small city in Wales and attend a conference in a university. So first of all, I hope all of you are drunk enough for this because I didn't really prepare. One of the coolest parts is that I'm 20 in the US, and over there the drinking age is 21. Over here, they're handing me beer tickets like it's nothing, and I don't really know how to handle that. So we just rolled with orange juice. A lot of people just make fun of me at clubs and bars that I was invited to for just getting the orange juice. It was a great time, though. It was all in good spirit. So as far as how the talks went, one of the coolest parts about attending conferences is that you get to learn from experts in a specific field, and not so much the details of how to implement things. You pick up on a little bit of those, but you learn. The most important part is that you're exposed to best practices, to research that people have done in the fields that you don't even know exist. For example, Stephen Hepting here. Is a good friend of mine that I've met through Twitter, and for the first time met in this conference. It was phenomenal. He spoke about closed source frameworks because he works on TwitterKit, which renders tweets inside of all of your iOS apps and other people's apps, but they cannot share the source. So he talked about how some of the people kind of tweak the view hierarchy to remove the Twitter logo, for example. Not sure why they would do that. He said he had to send a very kind email to them. But there were also very practical tips, such as why you would want to break up components of your app into frameworks, and how to handle with all kinds of difficult situations when you're trying to work in a sandbox environment, as well as things like how long does your framework take to load and change, like the app loading time, which also helps when you're trying to find out, for example, how much is a Swift standard library, the Swift, what do you call it? all of Swift to bundle with your app, pretty much. I forgot the name of that, as well as other frameworks that are useful for debugging your own framework. One of the coolest takeaways was the drinks. One of the coolest takeaways was that in order to, before you open source a framework, you can extract the code into your own framework and use it closed source to then tell your manager, hey, this is great and we're able to isolate this chunk of code and other people can use it too. And that's an idea I haven't thought of. These types of ideas showed up everywhere all the time in the sense of, for example, there was Ellen Shapiro gave a talk about Xcode extensions. And she ran through many, many little gotchas that would save you hours if you went and did that. But the nice part about it is that you got a feel for what an Xcode extension can do and how you can build one without diving into docs or anything like that. You just get a good feel for it. As far as experiences went, though, all the folks there are fantastic, as well as over here. We're all, in the sense of we're all part of this community that is open to share knowledge and discuss, whoops, got it, that's why you're laughing. Perfect. Let's see if there's a cool one. Yeah, lots of a lot of the parts of the conference was structured to just get to know people and meet people that are in your field and doing the same thing. So, more beer. I'd like to highlight a few of the experiences that I got there that are not talk related. For example, Dyson put on a full hackathon with their little robots that clean, the little vacuum cleaners that work on their own, similar to the Roomba robots. And we modded them to have, well, first we got API access to them as iOS developers. And we put a balloon on the back and spikes in the front. Now the goal was to build in about 8 hours or so, to build an iOS app that will control the robot by sending it network requests over LAN. And then the cooler part is you're not allowed to look at your robot to navigate. You have to use the camera from inside of the robot and project that onto your iOS app in order to control it. That was a whole technical challenge in itself that showed us what the Dyson people how to deal with. But it was so cool that, oh, that's some of the camera crew, but I have a video of kind of the excitement of putting 4 robots in an arena, trying to fight to the death by popping balloons of other robots with, whoop, we're gonna hope that lasts. With, by just controlling it through the iPhones. Hopefully internet's good. I don't know why this wasn't saved on my phone. Classic iCloud. It was slow motion, it was cool. Dang. Okay, we'll let it load. In the meantime, I'll talk about more cool things. The Keynote, the Apple Keynote, was there right after the talks. Last time there was a train ride through Aberystwyth during the same time. I have no idea how to pronounce that word. Nobody there does either, though, so it's okay. Chris told me something different, and he lives there, so I have no idea. Everyone has their own interpretation from what it seems like it. So I saw Greg Heo tweet that he's never, you haven't been to a conference or to a keynote until you sat down in a room with 100 cynical British people that just make fun of every sentence that came out of their mouths. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get to go. I went to the beach. And I went to get food. And because after all the talks, the food was just beer. And so that's great for most people, but I was actually very hungry. So I went to get food and came back. In the meantime, I ran into a lovely lady that was locked out of her apartment. I helped her out, and we ended up grabbing food and going to the beach. Randomly. this kind of small town experiences do not happen anywhere else, in the sense of, look at these photos. This place is amazing. And it's just like 2 trains away from here. 2 short trains, that's right. Coming from California, I thought this was the closest thing ever. Like, that's why I spoke to Morgan. He said it's a different perspective than what you folks have locally, because, but regardless, I'd love to encourage you to be able to go to this conference. This is Chris, the organizer, who did a phenomenal job of taking care of things that went wrong, of course, and flawlessly. Now, let's see if we can get a video to load, because those are kind of important. Cool, let me see if I can get audio. Sorry, I have a headphone jack. Oh, wow, I can actually speak into the microphone. That's incredible. I hope people can hear me. All right. So this was Diego, who gave a fantastic talk about one of the nice parts of the conference is that you get to learn not just about expert low-level things, but introductions to new subjects that you don't know about. Diego gave a talk about functional programming, and the way that he did it did not mention any monads or theories. He just spoke about what are the advantages and how you could use it, and very humbly presented himself as he learned this on his own for the first time, how he figured out what the value of it is. I thought that was fantastic in the sense of he was extremely enthusiastic about what he was talking about. And I'd love to share this clip if I can get the audio to work. So we're just going to unplug and plug back in, because tech. Let's see if we can make this happen. Oh, that's a bunny on a leash on the beach. Yes, it was a good time.
You don't have control of that. You have to leave control to some sort of magic that we don't like, because you are just expressing things. So you need to understand, I'm also regular expressions. I'm going to pass quickly because,
Oh no, battery alert. Classic. That's my laughter. Oh my gosh, this is going great, no worries.
I can write them, asterisk is everything. After that, there's...
Okay, so Diego's talk was so energetic and fun that I learned so much about functional programming without having known too much about it beforehand, and just felt like I was listening to a stand-up show. I love these kinds of... later on, we just got to go and grab beers and orange juice. It was such a good time that... You got to grab orange juice? That's right. I mean, he could have gotten to grab orange juice, so we did get to do that. Going to these events, as opposed to just watching the videos, allows you to meet these experts and just hang out and get to know them and let them get to know you and share knowledge in a way that is very difficult to do from an office. And even though DevUK was very far away for many of you, I think that going to these events will not only impact your career, but allow you to build friendships that you cannot do anywhere else outside of this community. I'd highly encourage you to go. Thank you. Just realized I had no idea what the length of this was. So I just cut it. We went off the cuff like Morgan tweeted about it. But if you have any questions afterwards, let me know.
Yeah, that would be the pub. when I sent him a message, he said, I said, well, I got these two slots, I got this longer one and this little lightning one. He says, I don't think this can fill 20 minutes. Turns out...
How long was that?
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes. Yeah,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Which brings me to Yvette, and Al's going to introduce her, but I just want to make it clear that there is no time limit on this, that you go for what you need.
I'd hate to keep people from their orange juice.
Well, that is true. Okay, Al and Yvette. And last round of applause for Gilad.